I finally have them all in hand. It's time to unbox and share my thoughts on Wave 8 of Masters of the Universe Origins from Mattel. Hello everybody and welcome to Geek Dad Life. It's your host, Jay Gladfelter here. I feel like it's been forever since I've opened a wave of MOTU Origins, and it kind of has. It was a year ago, November, when I opened up Wave 7 of one of my favorite toy lines available right now, and I am so excited to have them here. We first saw these figures at PowerCon in September of 2021, and it is an interesting wave of figures. We have a couple vintage classics being brought back. We have Sunman being brought into the MOTU universe, which is incredible. And then we have a more recent character, Anti-Eternia He-Man, which was a really popular classics figure being brought into the MOTU Origins fold as well. It's great that MOTU Origins is still going strong, and really excited to open up these figures. But before we do that, let's take a quick glance at the packaging. It is that wonderful vintage style packaging, but there are some nice updates like the new for 22 in the corner. That's new for this year, obviously. And then we also have the Rulers of Sunman sticker. That is new. The Evil Horde has shown up in previous figures here, but that's nice to have there as well. The art on the back, as always, is incredible. It's one of the main reasons why we're buying these figures. And they do not disappoint. The strength in the artwork continues, and they each show different scenes. I think my personal favorite has to go to Anti-Eternia He-Man. Honestly, this is probably the figure I was least excited about, but looking at the art, seeing how Axel and Francisco have kind of done an inverse look or an inverse style to the original He-Man card back is really, really cool. But with the power of Hellskull, the fearsome He-Man overthrew Anti-Eternia using his unmatched strength. I was like, I don't really care about this card, but after seeing that art, the art alone has me like, you know what? Actually, I'm excited for this figure. So pumped about that artwork, but it's all great. Clawfall has a great scene. Also, the Horde Troopers look great as well. The Sunman too, I love the Sunman and He-Man fighting side by side against Skeletor and Pighead. I think across the board, all fantastic artworks. And if we look at the cross-sell artwork, we have the entire Wave 8 figures along with the vintage style head sculpt Skeletor and He-Man figures. All right, without any further ado, let's open up these figures. And I think maybe I'll start with the Anti-Eternia He-Man. Again, that art had me so excited. Maybe I'm gonna start with this guy right here. So let's get to it. All right, so as we open up this Anti-Eternia He-Man, I think it's as good a time as any to say, if you're new to this channel, I love Masters of the Universe Origins and have reviewed it so many times, opened just about every single figure and vehicle released from the line so far. So I have a playlist for that. I'll put that in the description below. But if you'd like to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button and that bell icon. Make sure you don't miss out on any of those videos. But I'm a toy collector at heart and talk about so many different toy lines like Masters of the Universe Origins. And we have a new mini comic, and makes sense. It includes Sunman here as I guess the main storyline throughout, which is really cool since we're bringing in Sunman into the Masters of the Universe universe. So that is pretty cool, but also features all the other characters in Wave 8. So love the mini comic. We've also got the swappable parts that are featured in this figure. The arms, the hands, the head, the torso, and the feet are swappable on this Anti-Eternia He-Man. I love how the axe and sword are packaged in here. Taking him out of the bubble, it's pretty easy. No fuss there. And looking at this Anti-Eternia He-Man, I really like him. I don't know, but you ever have like a toy that's like, I don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't get the appeal. That was Anti-Eternia He-Man for me in the Classics line when I was a Classics collector. But I don't know, maybe now, maybe I finally get it. Do I get it? Am I in on the joke now? Or am I one of the cool kids? I think he looks fantastic. And it may just be the cool color scheme. I think we all like the Bizarro versions or you know, Reverse Flash, or, you know, any of those characters kind of just is the opposite of a hero or something like that. It's always fun. And you know, that's probably what they're trying to do here with the anti-eternia He-Man. You know, with my He-Man, I always display him with the battle axe. He looks great there with the all black battle axe. He also has a whole power sword, so no halves here, and it fits nicely in his back armor. But anti-eternia He-Man looks fantastic. Really like this figure. Will be the fave of the wave? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I think next up for me, I'm going to do Sunman. I have already opened up the Mattel Creations version of this toy, and if you're watching this, I've already published my video on which one should you get. So definitely check that out after you've watched this one if you haven't yet. But excited that we're getting a normal release of Sunman as well. Such an important figure in toy history. Such a great story with Wyla creating this character for her kid, because her kid thought he couldn't be a superhero because there wasn't superheroes that looked like him. Such an inspiring story, and really cool that this figure is now included in the Masters of the Universe. So really cool there. Excited that we're getting a normal retail release. And it's kind of weird. These are kind of being shipped separately from the other figures in Wave 8. So I don't know if there's a production issue that led to that or what. But it is something of note, even though people are able to buy these on Targets.com or on Target.com. That's why you see a lot of people have the other figures in Wave 8 and then doing Sunman later. I got the rest of the Wave 8 figures before this Sunman, and then just held last week, and I was just holding on to them until I got this Sunman, which I was thankful I didn't have to wait too long. His bubble is a little bit different to accommodate his wings. Again, we have Sunman Rises as the mini comic that's included with him. Same removable parts as all of the other He-Man Masters of the Universe Origins figures. Again, it's easier to remove the wings if you take off his head. Now we have a shield. There are a lot less accessories with the normal release version of this toy. We've only got the one head sculpt, which I know a lot of people are not fans of this head sculpt. I don't mind it personally. I think it looks fine, especially when you're comparing it to the vintage Sunman figure. Now, I do not have a vintage Sunman figure. It's a harder one to find. I've never seen one in the wild, I don't think. And the secondary market prices are probably a little bit out of my reach now. But if I ever find one, I would absolutely get one. But again, people that kind of don't like the head sculpt, I think he looks fine. He's kind of looking upward. You know, you can kind of be looking up at his sword. I think he looks great. Yes, it is a little bit more muted compared to the Mattel Creations version. Again, you can see a full breakdown of my thoughts on the differences between the two and which one you should buy when picking these up. But still, if this is the only one you can get, I still think he's a pretty darn good looking Sunman figure. The colors pop. If these Rulers of the Sun Olmec figures are out of your price range, this is a great option to add to your collection. I hope, you know, more things like those Remco figures start getting added as well. There's just so many of those He-Man, like MOTU, but not MOTU toys from the 80s that I would love to see included into the Origins style, because it's awesome that we're getting Sunman included as well. All right, let's get to the last two, which actually have vintage counterparts in the original Masters of the Universe toy line. And the first of those is Clawfall. Really excited for this character, getting this figure. He looked awesome at PowerCon. He was in Mattel's display, and the Clawfall along with the Buzz-Off, I think, are just really nice, you know, updated versions of the characters. And it's just something that, you know, Mattel just continues to impress with this toy line. You know, they could go the easy road. They could, you know, really just re-release the original toys again. You know, as much as I love the Retro TMNT line and the Kenner Classics line, but, you know, Mattel's just really done a great job. They could take the easy route and just re-release the original figures, but no, they're giving us updated versions. The Clawfall, just the one arm is removable, not the snapping claw mechanism, but all the rest of the normal pieces are removable on this Clawfall figure. And I didn't like it at first, but I actually like the new little hang tags that they used to hold the figure in place. Now it's much easier to get the figure out. And now that I am holding this Clawful in hand, he just looks great. Again, I feel like they've upped the quality on the figures. I know the price has increased a little bit, a couple dollars, right? The same thoughts I had in Wave 7 I have here. They look really good. Like, the colors really pop. There's very little slop. I rhymed, look at that. and yeah, I really like it. All right, let's test out his action feature, the claw mechanism. It's a little bit softer than the vintage figure. Oop, I knocked my camera out of focus there. There we go. And I have the vintage one here. Let's see. The vintage one had a much stronger snap. You can probably hear it in the video. Just kind of pull it back and then it snaps shut. The new one, much lighter. Probably not a safety reason, but still. But again, when you're looking at them side by side, you can definitely see the influence, but I like the Origins one, the differences they've done here. You have the open mouth. Looks a little bit more menacing, not as goofy, not as lobstery. I mean, it's still very much a lobster, right? But at least it looks a little bit more menacing in the Origins version versus the original one. So it's just the right balance of a little bit of new with a lot of classic look to it. And yeah, I think this is a great update. And you know, at first glance, I thought the mace was too subdued in color. But, you know, actually it still kind of is. I will say though, I think the accessory, his mace, is a little more subdued than I would like it to be in the Origins line. Something that I really like with the Origins line is how the colors really pop. And this mace looks a little muted compared to the vintage mace. Would have liked to have a little bit, maybe more neon green color. And then again, we saw this in Buzz Off, but I love the articulation on the claw and how you're able to move it around. I think is great because it allows the accessory to be so much more usable than the vintage one, which was just casted in that one way, and that was it. That's all you could do. That's why they had to add this little guard on it so it could actually hold the mace versus this one can actually hold it without having to use the little hand guard there. But still, Clawful looks fantastic. Another frontrunner for possible fave of the wave. All right, last but not least, the one maybe that I have been most nervous about getting and opening is this evil Horde Trooper. I love the vintage Horde Troopers, and I have a few of them. You know, it's just, I don't know, a troop builder in MOTU. I think it's just a really fun toy, but they're kind of rare and hard to find, especially since it's a troop builder figure. So, you know, I was really excited for them to include it in the Origins line because then it'll be much cheaper to army build a Horde Trooper. But their choice to go with kind of a pearlescent plastic had me concerned because the original one is just kind of in a gray plastic. Now, again, I can see how maybe this is more accurate to the characters or what have you, whatever you want to say. But still, I wish it maybe would have went this route, at least before opening this toy. So I will say, though, just looking at it in the box, it is far more subdued than I originally thought it would be. But let's open this thing up. I can't wait anymore and see how does this compare out of the box to the vintage Horde Trooper, and if it truly is a worthy Origins successor to the original Horde Trooper. Because again, as I have said before, the Origins figures are replacing my vintage figures in my Masters of the Universe display with my Eternia playset, and I am recreating that original Eternia poster, and there's a few Horde Troopers on that poster, so I have a couple Horde Troopers in my display, vintage ones, and I would much rather have cheaper, more stable versions of those characters there. So another Sunman comic. Curious to see what we got here. Same replaceable pieces as the PowerCon Horde Troopers had. There was one in colored red and one colored black. But still, these are your removable parts, which is actually surprising how many are removable on this figure since it includes that original Horde Troopers action feature. This one is a little bit tighter in the bubble. That's all right. Now, again, they're kind of they're not as consistent with the accessories, but just looking at the staff, the Horde Trooper staff, it's much brighter than the vintage one. So unlike Clawfall, the new one here is much brighter, which again, I'm cool with. That's what I like about the Origins line. The colors really, really pop. Now, again, I have already opened up the Horde PowerCon pack. I'll put a link down in the description below if you want to watch that. And if you own that figure, you know what to expect here. This one is just kind of silvery and pearlescent, but it's not like super in your face. I will give it that. So you can kind of see a lot of just marbling in how they have, poured this pearlescent plastic in the figure. I think it looks okay, but it might turn off some toy collectors. And the action feature does work. You just push it in and it'll open up. It's not as a quick reaction as the PowerCon exclusive set. I'm noticing it's a little bit tighter. It may just be my specific Horde Trooper here, but the action feature worked a little bit better on the PowerCon set. Now I won't even do it. But anyway, so that being said, oops. I like them. Honestly, I like it. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Looking at the two figures side by side, it's not that different. Do I wish they would have tried to stick more to the vintage one? Absolutely. But I think on a shelf in my display, it will look fine. But I'm still holding out hope they will release a more vintage style toy version of this Horde Trooper. But the sculpt itself, I think, looks fantastic. The articulation, I think, works great. And is not a bad entry into the Horde Trooper. This is now the third look Horde Trooper that we have gotten in the MOTU Origins line, and I really dig them. All right, so that is Wave 8. Now it's time to pick the fave of the wave. We have the inclusion of Sunman, which is great. Loved Pixel Dan's interview with Eason. Check it out if you haven't yet. I'll put a link to that in the description. I just put a whole bunch of links in the description below. But great to hear her story. And again, for a figure I wasn't really excited about, I really like the anti-eternia He-Man. He looks great. And then we have Clawful as well, which Clawful is not awful. Gosh, is it Clawful? Is it Sunman? Is it the Horde? I think I have to disqualify the Horde because I still wish they would have went with a more traditional look to the figure. As much as I think Sunman is fantastic, the colors really pop. I think I personally would prefer the Mattel Creation version of the figure. The armor is just shiny. It pops even more. And I like the option of multiple head sculpts, even though I don't mind the regular one here. But again, I think this just looks that much better. So shocker. So I may very easily go with Clawful, but I feel like I gotta go to one that surprised me the most. And that's the anti-eternia He-Man. Maybe I don't know. Like, is this a controversial pick here? I think it turned out really good. I think I'm gonna say it's my favorite of the wave. Let me know down in the comment section below. Do you think I'm crazy, or do you agree with me? Overall, though, it's a really fantastic wave. The hits keep coming with Masters of the Universe Origins. Excited for Wave 9 whenever that arrives. So make sure you hit the subscribe button and that bell icon to not miss when I do that unboxing of that wave. But definitely excited to add these to my MOTU Origins collection, and they definitely get the Geek Dad Life buy rating. If you want to thank my patrons, you can see a full list of them right here. If you want to see your name added to this list, become a patron today at patreon.com/geekdadlife. Check out some of my other videos like this one that YouTube wants you to check out, and one of my more recent videos. And until next time, hasta luego and goodbye.